Smita Gupta and Radhika Ramaseshan, two of India's best known and senior most journalists. Smita Gupta has been with the Times of India, the Hindu, the Indian Express, and all of India's top news media, as has Radhika Ramaseshan with the Telegraph. And now she is a consulting editor with the Business Standard. I'm Jyoti Malhotra with Awaaz South Asia. Welcome to both of you, Smita and Radhika, to Awaaz.
Thank you.
Well, today the big news is that Mahua Mitra, the Trinamool Congress MP from Krishnagar, has been expelled by the Lok Sabha Ethics panel. This story has been ongoing for a few weeks. The ethics panel of the Lok Sabha has finally taken a decision and Mahua Mitra has been expelled. Radhika, your first comments on what this means for Mahua, from the Trinamool Congress, her party, and for politics in general today.
Yeah, initially the Trinamool gave an impression that it was, it was quite indifferent to the prospective action against Mahua Mitra. If you recall, there was no reaction from the party for quite a while. But once Mamata Banerjee spoke out first, the first installment of reaction, and now today she's come out very, very categorically saying that this is unfair, this is unjust. She was not given a chance to speak in the Lok Sabha to explain her position. It was rushed through. And so I think the Trinamool is now giving an impression finally that it is solidly behind Mahua Mitra. I wonder if it has all political parties make ground level assessments. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if this has to do with Trinamool Congress also making an assessment of Mahua Mitra's chances in her Lok Sabha constituency, right, and then coming to a conclusion that, yes, she must be supported. She still has ground level support. Mm-hmm. So I think that the Trinamool's sort of speaking out has a lot to do with that.
Okay. So, Smita, today on the steps of Parliament is in session in Delhi, as we know. Mahua was speaking to journalists and she said that the Ethics Committee of the Lok Sabha, and I'm quoting from what she says, has broken every rule in the book. And then she says, I am 49 years old. I will fight for the next 30 years inside and outside Parliament. The ethics panel is punishing me for practice that is routine, accepted, and encouraged in the Lok Sabha. In essence, I have been found guilty of breaching a code of ethics that does not exist. And what is interesting, Smita, is that she was flanked by Farooq Abdullah on one side and Sonia Gandhi on the other. What do you make of all this?
Well, the Trinamool Congress itself came to her support a bit late. But I recall that, when she appeared before the Ethics Committee, even at that stage, other political parties had already come out in support of her. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a sense, Farooq Abdullah, Sonia Gandhi, nobody needs bigger supporters than those, they have realized, everybody has realized that they need to support Mahua Mitra, because it's not just about Mahua Mitra, it's about every MP in this parliament, every opposition MP, we have seen how people are being just, the enforcement directorate is being used against people who are inconvenient. And I have seen, if you take Mahua Mitra's own track record in Parliament, she's been one of the most outspoken and brilliant, speakers in the House. Right. And she has not missed her words when it has come to criticizing the government and the crony capitalists who support this government.
Okay.
Now, if we need to also, of course, to look at what exactly she's been accused of.
Right.
She has been accused of, asking a sponsored question, mm-hmm, and of giving her login details to a businessman.
Okay.
The fact is that we've talked to other members of Parliament. Most members I don't think there is any rule which says that you cannot give your login details to other people. Many of the MPs are not tech friendly. Many of them are old. many of them hand out their login details.
So this is not uncommon to hand in. So this is not uncommon to give your login details to other people. Okay.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I believe there is no written rule which says that you cannot give your login details to somebody else. Some people have their own secretaries and PAs and they do it. Some people may not have that, in Delhi, they may be giving it to other people. So, and a point that you had raised about the ethics committee at which she had been questioned.
Yeah.
Some of the questions that were asked of her were of an extremely personal nature, which had no bearing really on the question of unethical behavior.
Right.
Her personal life was sought to be brought in, and that is something that women, whether they're members of parliament or whether they're in any other profession, they often have to face, and it is extremely unfair.
Right. Radhika, Smita just mentioned that the ethics panel has expelled her ostensibly because she asked a sponsored question. She gave her login details, her credentials. As a Lok Sabha MP, the login details that allow you to enter the parliamentary inbox, if you like, of the whole sort of computer system. She gave those credentials to an outsider. And these were seen by the ethics panel as having violated some sort of security norms. Now, do you think that this is the real reason why the ethics panel that's headed by a BJP MP has expelled her? Why do you think? Why do you think that such strict action has been taken by the ethics panel against a sitting member of parliament?
Yeah, firstly, the rule regarding login details or sharing your login details, ID, etc., has recently been enshrined. Sort of. Meaning MPs cannot share. This is post.
Can you just repeat that?
This is
because the line isn't that great.
Yeah. What I was saying, that the rule regarding sharing your login details with an outsider outside of parliament, I meant it could be your PS, it could be a friend, it could be a well-wisher, that has been amended to say that no MP can share his or her login details. Now, Mahua Mitra, I think, was probably a little naive. This is her first tenure as MP, right? I'm sure she's digitally savvy because she's, after all, held these high top-notch posts in the corporate sector, and she would be well aware of issues of propriety, of unwritten rules, etc. So should she have shared it? She could have been careful, but the punishment is totally disproportionate to the offense. That is what I would say. And I don't think it has, there is cash for query. If I may remind you, in 2005, after Cobra Post did a sting operation on some MPs, there were 11 of them were accused in the cash for query scam for asking motivated questions, agenda-driven questions, and all of them were expelled. This was when the UPA was in power. Right. And at that point, L.K. Advani, he described the action as extreme, unwarranted, and conducted by a kangaroo court. I mean, Mahua also used the phrase kangaroo court.
Right.
Now, it's clearly sharing her login details with a friend or a well-wisher or a businessman is not the point. The point is that she has distinguished herself as a feisty MP. She has taken on the high and mighty in this government. And I do not mean the Prime Minister or the Home Minister. I mean their friends outside Parliament, very powerful friends. I mean, she's been consistent about it. Yeah. I don't think any other MP has gone to the same extent. And this...
He's been targeting Gautam Adani.
He's been targeting Gautam Adani, to put it very plainly. Yeah, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is sacrosanct as far as this government. He is sacrosanct as far as this government is concerned.
But basically, she's been saying that she's been saying that she's been accusing him of using his proximity or his alleged proximity to the Prime Minister for getting business favors, for getting all kinds of deals and projects. Now, none of this is
right.
We must all say that none of this is proven, but that's what Mahua has been doing and has been saying.
Yeah, she's been alleging. That's right. I mean, and anyone who attacks this government's friends. If you notice that this government Parliament has been the ruling party has been very liberal with suspensions. They suspended Sanjay Singh because he was also a Rajya Sabha MP from the Aam Aadmi Party, because he was also getting close to where Mahua Mitra actually went. Mm-hmm. So they have been very liberal with these kind of extreme actions more than the past governments.
Yeah.
Rahul Gandhi, yes. Also, I think he didn't think twice before attacking Adani for much the same charges as Mahua Mitra. So he was disqualified from.
But Rahul was suspended, wasn't he?
Yeah, Rahul was suspended. Yeah, and then reinstated through a court order.
Yes.
So, in her case, it's expulsion, one step further.
Yeah. So is this the first time, Smita, that somebody that is sitting MP has been expelled from the Lok Sabha? And what impact will this have? I mean, there's only a few months left before the general elections in 2024. But what kind of impact do you think it will have on the politics of our country?
It will make the MPs, opposition MPs, far more cautious. But having said that, I would like to repeat something that Radhika said, which is also important, that knowing what this government is all about, it is just as well to be absolutely careful about things like, your login details. I mean, whether you share it or you don't, that is not an example of great bravery or courage or anything. Reserve all your ammunition for what is the serious part. I mean, nobody is above rules, traditions, the law. But certainly, I think it will discourage a lot of members of parliament who are not perhaps as courageous, who would like, who are be dependent on their MP's salaries, to come out and speak forthrightly, because it is a signal. And we have seen that this government doesn't really back off easily. I mean, forget something like this. I mean, they have even steamrolled the constitution to get Article 370 removed from the, book in a completely, if I may say, illegal way. So, I mean, what can be bigger than that? Mm-hmm. So, I think the opposition MPs have to think more carefully on how to attack this government, to do it in a pointed way, but to make sure that they use absolutely parliamentary language, which is possible, and not to, fall into small, little holes like this one about giving in login details, which, I mean, a lot of people will say, why should you give your login details to somebody outside, not even your PA? It doesn't sound right even to you and me.
Right.
So get caught out on something which is so small when the battle is much bigger. The battle is so much larger.
On the Article 370, Smita, I just wanted to add that the Supreme Court is delivering its verdict on the legality of Article 370, when it was abrogated or revoked, as the right word is, on the 5th of August, 2019. But Radhika, I wanted to ask you, this is this sending, this expulsion of Mahua Mitra, is this sending a message to the opposition, and coming in the wake of the results of these 5 assembly elections, when the BJP has won 3 of those, has won 3 of those states? Is this sending a message to the opposition that you better watch out? And are they driving the point home that we are in power, that the BJP is in power, and it's going to do everything it can to remain in power? And if that means that the opposition is going to be attacked, well then, so be it.
Yeah, Jyoti, whether it's in parliament or outside parliament, the BJP uses every occasion to reiterate its near hegemony. At the moment, it's in a near hegemonic status.
But Radhika, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I could also argue what's wrong with that. The BJP is in power. It is exercising power.
Sure.
It's not a kitty party. It's a political party, and it wants to exercise that power.
Yeah, it does want to exercise power. We have seen authoritarian regimes in the past, notably Mrs. Indira Gandhi's. And the whole idea must be to steamroll the opposition into submission. There's no doubt about it. That's the way they're going to function, this government. It's, as Smita said, it's really up to the opposition to watch out. However, now my sights would be set on the India bloc. And today, I think the India bloc did support Mahua Mitra after she was expelled. And, the optics of her being flanked by Sonia Gandhi and Farooq Abdullah could be a little encouraging to the opposition, but that's not how the battle is going to pan out. It doesn't depend on who is supporting Mahua Mitra or not. There are far larger issues. It's a much bigger canvas. This is probably a little speck on the canvas. Mahua Mitra has to take care of her constituency in West Bengal and of her party, and her party has in turn has to take care of Mahua Mitra. So the opposition has far bigger issues to fight on, and beyond
What is
the
this
point,
canvas? Explain to us, explain to the viewer, what is this large canvas?
Okay, there are several elements. One is your a lot is being harped on ideology, and the Congress lacking clarity on ideology. The opposition itself, we have seen them. I mean, adopting the soft Hindutva template, the welfare template, which of course the BJP, which is now a kind of certitude with the BJP, this combination. So you cannot beat the real McCoy. That is very clear. You have to think of an alternate vision. And to be fair, Rahul Gandhi did articulate, components of this vision during his Bharat Jodo Yatra, but somehow it is not clicking with people. Either there's something wrong with the way he's communicating, or the other side, the BJP far credible people to start questioning this government, at least in large parts of the country. I'm not talking about the states where they are not in power.
Okay.
So it's the larger canvas is both ideological, it is organizational, very important. The Congress has to get its organization together. We've been saying this for years, and they don't seem to, except in bits and pieces, say in Karnataka or Telangana. They need to nurture and develop strong regional leaders. I mean, after all, you gave a Revant Reddy a chance, and he did make something of Telangana, right? Or you Siddharamaiah and D.K. Shiv Kumar, not the perfect duo, but still, they brought you to power in Karnataka. So this is what the Congress will have to do. It will have to give space to the allies. That is very important.
Right.
Not keep sniping at their heels like they did during the Madhya Pradesh election.
Yeah.
The face-off between Kamal Nath and Akhilesh Yadav. Congress has to learn to be generous, stop playing Big Brother, get its ideological act together, get the organization together, do programs to motivate its cadre. What is it? There's no great secret to the BJP success. It's just that since his days in Gujarat, Modi has been keeping the cadre toes through various programs, making them feel wanted, I mean, I have heard people cribbing in Amethi that Rahul doesn't even know the names of old-time Congress workers. Whereas Modi, actually, I've seen him in action in Gujarat. He addresses each worker by name, whether it is in Khera or in somewhere in Saurashtra. So that's something which the Congress will have to, at least a bit of it will have to acquire.
Smita, the question to you is, Radhika talked about how the Congress should get its allies together, perhaps be less aggressive, less arrogant. What's the message there? It seems as if in the wake of these, of the 5 assembly elections, the India Alliance meeting was put off, of course. Now, we don't know when that meeting is, but what's happening within the opposition that is making the other opposition parties so unhappy?
Well, I think there are 3 lessons for the Congress that emerge from these 5 state elections. Number 1 is that if the India coalition is to be a reality, it has to, as Radhika pointed out, it has to cooperate with the other parties. There was nothing wrong if in Madhya Pradesh it had shared seats with the Samajwadi Party and the Janata Dal United. They couldn't have done worse than they have done.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have given, people a sense, like voters like you and me. We can then you see this is the India coalition. Today, don't know what the India coalition is on the ground. So there is absolute need for it. And we have seen in the past people who have succeeded in running coalitions, whether when it was VP Singh, he had ministers from the south. He had people like Murasoli Maran, and he had KP Krishna. The left in Bengal under Jyoti Basu, the CPM was like this huge party with the RSP as forward bloc, etc. Just a few MLAs, but it was always called the Left Front. It wasn't called the CPM government. So you have to project that coalition. That's number one. Number two, I think, is that you have to get clear what your ideology is. You can't have soft Hindutva, Kamal Nath playing his soft Hindutva card. It's never, you're going to be B team. And on the same, and simultaneously, you're suddenly woken up 30 years too late of and you talk about caste census and things. So you don't, it doesn't ring true. I mean, even if Rahul Gandhi himself believes it, he needs to have a workshop with his own MPs, MLAs, his workers. Because I heard so many talk to people in the Congress party who just sort of said, like it's there, we have to say it. But they don't believe it. If you don't own it, you can't make other people believe that you believe in it. Mm-hmm. So you have to get this ideology thing. You have to have a personality and a vision that is distinct from the BJP. And number three, I think youth. I think Revanth Reddy won this election because, he's 54 years old. Maybe it doesn't sound terribly young, but in Indian politics, 54 is very young. I still remember once Madhav Rao Scindia, when he was about 54, he said, imagine I'm called young, and I'm a grandfather. So, but, 54 is young, and it's a fact. You do need, Kamal Nath, he's been there from the beginning of my career, and I'm 40 years into the profession.
Right.
Or Ashok Ghel, generation, gave way to the Modi, Jaitley, etc. generation. So that generational change hasn't taken place in the Congress party. So I think these are the three lessons as far as the Congress is concerned.
And isn't it interesting, Radhika, that the 3 days, or it's like almost 4 days since the results came out. They came out on the 3rd of December. No, it's been more than that. So we're now on the 8th, or 8th of December. Yeah. And the 3 states which the BJP won still hasn't got chief ministers, so whether they're preparing for a new generation of BJP leaders. But I want to ask you both, and that's my last question. If the Congress has to revamp itself, and we're using the Mahua Mitra expulsion as an example of how that can be done, and if the Congress party has to take the lead, then is Rahul Gandhi the problem? And that's my question to you, Radhika.
Yeah, most certainly, Jyoti. I've been very critical of him, even through his Bharat Jodo Yatra. He's still, you put the other side in the picture. You just juxtapose him with Modi and Shah. Amit Shah has already started campaigning for the Lok Sabha elections. He is, he's sort of getting the RSS constituents on the BJP side because their help is very valuable. So he went to address an ABVP convention in Delhi today. So he's on his toes. So is Modi in his own way. And Rahul Gandhi, I get the feeling that his engagement with politics is very patchy.
I think he's off to Southeast Asia also in a few days' time. I think he's going off.
Unless it's some kind of an official engagement, I wouldn't know. Or is it a private visit? I wouldn't know. If it is a private visit, this is not the time. You hardly have 4 months left for the Lok Sabha elections. He should be introspecting. More importantly, he should be working on the ground. Okay, the time for inspection may come later, but what are you going to do? How are you going to consolidate whatever little gains that you have made here and there? The South is not entirely out for the Congress. I would say, in fact, the Congress has a slight advantage over the BJP in the South.
So Rahul should get out of the way? Rahul should get out of the way?
Rahul, yeah, if you ask me frankly, yes, Rahul should get out of the way.
Smita?
Is it Priyanka? I don't know.
Okay.
She's not really proved herself.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Smita? Should Rahul, and Priyanka Gandhi, should they get out of the way and let the normal politics of the Congress party take over?
Priyanka definitely, because I don't think she brings anything at all to the table. And she puts up people's backs. Rahul Gandhi, unfortunately, yes, I would agree with Radhika that he is not the leader that the Congress needs. However, knowing the reality of the Congress party, I can't, you cannot remove Rahul Gandhi, but he can be part of a collective. You cannot take decisions whether they are to do with should Sachin Pilot not replace Gaylord or should Gaylord continue, or whether it is, shall we now say that we want to do a caste census, be in some kind of a discussion, a collective mechanism. Mm-hmm. Maybe in the BJP there is, and it is Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah. But when you're in a winning situation, it's very, very different. Everyone falls in line. But when you're not in a winning situation, you have to, take the opinion of everybody who matters in the party. Mm-hmm. And that is something Mrs. Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, was very good at doing. Right. As she became, during the UPA years, as she grew weaker and weaker, one saw that she was, taking the opinion of other people. She never took a decision all by herself. Even if the idea was hers, she would get other people to, she would consult them, talk to them, and get them on board. But you can't, have these flash in the pan kind of things. We've seen this. Just right. Suddenly before the elections, they decide that they become a Dalit party. All along, you've been a Jat party, your votes are there, and then suddenly you become a Dalit party. And then what happens? You sink without a trace. Right. Yeah. So I'm just saying, this caste census. So these are the kind of ideas that Rahul Gandhi, suddenly he wakes up and things. If to get an idea like this actually working on the ground, you need at least 5 years, especially when it's Absolutely. A dramatic change. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's my 2 bits.
Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating discussion. We started off with the expulsion of Mahua Mitra and what that means for her party and for politics. But your views and your analysis of both of you, Smita Gupta and Radhika Ramaseshan, thank you so much for explaining what's happening, not just in the Congress, but in the opposition, and what it must do to deal with the BJP, with the juggernaut that is the BJP. Thank you so much for joining me on Awaaz South Asia.